I'm just sort of close to this issue, so I was asked to give a little presentation on some of the changes that are happening with the Department of Homeland Security, things that are coming out of the government, certain executive orders, and how that might affect us and the people that we work with. So I didn't want to bury the lead here. You know, if anybody's worried about deportation or detainment, that's not something that's going to affect our population significantly. You know, all the people who work here are documented because they work here. They've probably lived here for a certain amount of time. They might have passports or green cards. So we really don't need to worry. We just want to take some proactive steps. So what to do in the unlikely event that ICE does come to our facility or your facility if you work somewhere else. First of all, if they approach at a door, we're not going to invite them in. We're going to ask a supervisor to deal with that situation. For anybody listening who's at the supervisory level, you're going to look at the documentation that they brought. By and large, ICE doesn't have jurisdiction in places like this. This is a private space, so they're not legally allowed to come in here without an invitation or without a warrant signed by a judge. I was told in our meeting the other day, they're going around saying we have authority from the president, but you know, Civics 101, separation of powers, the judge, judicial branch, president, executive order, it's not the same. I do have links later on which give examples of what is an administrative warrant and what's a judicial warrant. So, but for most of us, we're just going to talk to our supervisor. If they did walk into our facility, you know, that would technically be trespassing, but if they did, what we're going to do is make sure that any foreign-born worker meets up with their supervisor. You know, we've got, on our facility, we've got supervisors at the north end of the facility over there. We've got, I'm here on the south end, the classroom and the locked office over there, just to link up and make sure that communication goes smoothly. And as always, when dealing with security forces, police forces, no running, arguing, resisting, or fighting. Obviously, we're not going to give any probable cause accidentally. So the main points we want to make. First, we want to make sure everybody does due diligence, gets their papers in order. We want to offer support and confidentiality to the people that we work with. We are hoping that the United States Refugee Admission Program freeze is opened back up after the current 90 days, and we want to reassure people about birthright citizenship. So let me go into those 4 points a little bit. So due diligence. So again, like I said before, the people who work for us are not at serious risk of deportation or detainment, but mistakes get made, so we want to make sure we're out ahead of that. So we feel it would be prudent to recommend everybody goes home, checks their papers, makes sure that, you know, if they accidentally lost their green card or their passport some years ago, they get it back. And then I think we talked to HR to have them photocopy papers for that, because obviously you're not going to be if you're a citizen, foreign-born citizen, you're not going to carry your passport around. It's a huge problem if you lose it. Same with the green card, same with some other documentation. So we're going to ask people just carry a photocopy around, as well as their the On Support Network work badge, just to prevent any issues, you know, especially if somebody's working out at another facility. We don't want any confusion to happen. And that's what I just said. Carry copies of key documents, just to be safe. Okay. Next, we're going to support families. We don't necessarily know the immigration status of all the families and friends of everybody we work with and everybody that they know. So, you know, we're going to be open. If somebody comes to us with an issue, we're going to talk to them in confidence, and we're going to try to connect them to any resources that their networks might need. Next, this came up this morning when we were meeting with some of our production staff, that some people were worried about, you know, what happens to my kids when they go to school, you know, feeling worried about some of the headlines that might have happened with that. So there were some directives out of the State Department of Education a few days ago. Letters have been sent out by superintendents in Buffalo Public Schools, Kenton Public Schools, probably all the schools. We're going to defer to schools on that to use their authority. But basically, this is highly unlikely. And just as a precaution, the one key piece of information, the key step I saw that families should take is make sure their emergency contact information is up to date. Obviously, if the school wants to reach the parent in the event of an emergency, they need to be able to do that, and people change phone numbers all the time. So that's the one step. But basically, don't worry. It's not something that we think is going to be a major issue here in New York State. Next. So the United States Refugee Admissions Program is frozen for 90 days by executive action as of about a week ago. After that, they're going to reassess and potentially reopen, probably at lower numbers than the last administration. So that's going to be a really stressful and emotionally taxing time for a lot of the people that we work with. We've already talked to a couple people who were expecting their family members on an airplane, now. And that's not going to happen. So that's really hard. So we're just going to try to be there for the people that we work with. On the similar vein to the USRAP freeze, a lot of people are concerned about the birthright citizenship issue. There was an executive order restricting that came out a few days ago. First of all, the people that we work with are really not affected by the current executive order. It's very, very specific who it would affect. And second of all, it's already been struck down by lower court judges. There's no evidence among the legal scholarship that it would actually hold muster in the Supreme Court. It's going to be some months out before we find out what does happen. But a lot of people are worried about that. I'm foreign born. What if I have a kid? Are they going to be a citizen? The answer, as far as we know, is going to be yes. So just to review, 1, don't worry. 2, don't let ICE in anyway, if at all possible. 3, make sure everybody has their papers in order. 4, support families and their kids. 5, emotionally support people for the USRAP freeze and their families not coming over as timely as we expected. And 6, reassure people that birthright citizenship will not be going away as far as we know. Anything else and any questions? Okay, thanks.